The original version of this video was uploaded to Jason VERNEY'S YouTube channel, where it and many other videos, podcasts, snippets and films can be found. That channel can be found at youtube.com/Jason VERNEY. This is the Not So Korean podcast. I am Jason VERNEY. As you probably know, and as we always say, we usually record this live in UK's Koreatown itself. That's an area in and around New Malden. Yes, that's the largest Koreatown and Korean community in Europe. But I must add a quick statement from me, Jay, before passing you over to myself, on the fly and on the move, somewhere else. Due to the nature of this episode, some segments, and in particular the sound quality, will differ slightly. Hopefully this won't affect your listening pleasure though. Enjoy! This is the Not So Korean podcast. I am Jason VERNEY. As I record this, it's now the 1st of December and I'm in South Korea. More specifically, I'm in Jeju. And the reason I wanted to record this today is because, first of all, there's several reasons for this, but I have never been in Korea in December, and it's now the 1st of December. In fact, I had never been here any later than the middle of November before. But I wanted to record this episode because I wanted to talk about seasons. Now I'm talking about the seasons of the episodes of the series. The series, I prefer series, but these days it's called seasons, and also the seasons with regards to weather. Let's start with the weather. I have been since the last episode was recorded, in which you heard a snippet of James Turnbull, who is coming in the next episode, or it might be simultaneously with this episode, because I'm nearing the end of editing that. But I really wanted to put this out because a lot's been on my mind lately regarding Korea, my next destination, which is Thailand, but also the seasons and the weather, the movement, and basically the kind of delays I've had creatively and in my health and in my accommodation. I had a temple stay for a week, so I really wanted to just talk about this because it's played a big part of my trip. So I started in Sewol. I went to a wedding, and then I went down to Busan. I had the Busan International Film Festival. I attended many films. I was only there for about half the festival. I then spent in total probably actually a month or 5 weeks in Busan, and it was a coincidence that I was moving south. Busan is south in South Korea, but I also wanted to stay there for a month because I tried to do sort of a month's accommodation, and that's what I did. But towards the end of that month's accommodation in Busan, I think it actually turned out to be about 5 weeks. Luckily, the accommodation, the host or the manager or whatever you want to call him, he, let me sort of add on days or a week, sort of ad hoc as I went, which was great. No price extra, it's just prorated price. And I stayed there last year. Funnily enough, where I'm sitting right now in what I would call a mock-up, ad hoc even, recording space in my hotel room in Jeju. I'm overlooking Hallasan, that's Halla Mountain, that's South Korea's largest mountain. It's not Korea's largest mountain, it's South Korea's largest mountain. I'm actually staying in a hotel, an accommodation I was in last year. So I came back to the same one. It's actually a mini chain of hotels, or maybe a big chain of hotels, but there's 3 of these ones. And for just to mention, for what you can get in Seoul for the price I'm getting in Jeju at this time of year, maybe that's part of the reason, is a lot better in Jeju. Now, back to Busan. Towards the end of that stay in that accommodation, I was I got ill. I got sick. Now, I was probably ill. It felt like it was a week. It probably wasn't a week, but it was probably definitely leading up to a week. I don't know what it was. I did go to the doctors, and this was my first experience of a doctor's or mini hospital or whatever you want to call it in South Korea. I've been coming here for 11 years. Of course, my trips have been getting longer and longer. This is my 9th trip, and yeah, I paid a visit to the doctors. It was perhaps related to my tonsils, perhaps related to some other virus, and in the end, yeah, of course, I saw it through. But that put a bit of a, when you are being creative. I'm writing scripts, I'm doing editing of video art, documentary I'm putting together regarding Sewol, the ferry. I'm also doing these episodes, but as you might have guessed, I haven't done one for a few weeks, or at least put one out for several weeks. I have been recording snippets which might see the light of day, and I'm also putting what I would call sort of the not so long Korean podcast together, and I might talk about that in another episode. I will talk about it in another episode. But these podcasts aren't that easy when you're kind of, you've got distractions in your life and you've got other stuff going on, and being an artist, being an artist and filmmaker, my priority is not podcasting, but at the same time, with an ever growing list of potential interviewees, but also subjects I can cover, I want to continue this podcast, and that's what we are going to do. So I was in Busan. Then I was thinking, right, do I go to Jeju, the town where I went to last year, where I had my film in a festival? Do I go over there? In the meantime, I think part of this might have been, the reason for being ill, I have a feeling, because a lot of people get ill when the seasons change. And as I say, this is kind of about cheating seasons, this episode. People, they get sick when the weather changes. Sometimes in the UK that happens. But also I was at Busan fireworks, Gwangali beach fireworks. Busan has different parts. It's a massive city, really. And I was there with loads of people standing there watching for a couple of hours. I wasn't even sure if I was going to go to the fireworks, but let's just say there was a lot of people. It was outside. There's thousands and thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, I don't know. And it wouldn't surprise me if some, if people's germs just got around. That's what happens. It could have even been COVID. In fact, I think the doctor said it was potentially, he could see it was tonsil related, but also he said it could be COVID, it could be virus, it could be viruses. COVID is a virus. So, it knocked me out. Thankfully, one of my friends who was in Busan from Daegu, she came to see me. We went out for a Thai meal, but really it was down the road from where I lived. I was staying in Daesan. It's a very Korean area. It's not your, let's say, tourist area, not even for Koreans in Busan. On my YouTube channel, if you can find me, Jason Verney, I put a couple of videos up relating to Daesan before. But the thing is, so we went to a Thai meal, but I really was not feeling it. It was great to see her. She's been wonderful. I've seen her a couple of times. She came down to Busan another time. And shout out to you, Yeji. And the thing is, I don't know what it was, but it knocked me back, it knocked me out. And, I wasn't really enjoying my accommodation. Although I'd stayed there last year, it was good value. And I liked it in certain ways, but maybe it was also not as good a deal as I was thinking. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is, regarding cheating the seasons, be that the podcast episodes, which I'll also come to, and also cheating the genuine season of the world and of the country. Korea has 4 seasons. I also maybe cheating, accommodation. You think you're getting a good deal, but maybe it's doing you more harm in the kind of aesthetics. Maybe it's not making you feel great. I used to I would go home, I'd feel very comfortable, but maybe it could be a lot better. Maybe I'm thinking about that now, more being in a kind of a hotel as opposed to what I had. Okay, so I then, in the end, I was discussing with my friend who is a Korean Buddhist monk. She's a sunim, that's what it's known as, and we were discussing me coming to the temple, and I thought, well, do I leave Busan? I think I did this last year, and go over to a town called GANGJIN-EUP, Gangjin-gun, depending on which area of Gangjin you're talking about. I went to a temple last year that she was actually at. No, she knew, and she let me stay there for a couple of nights, and I gave in my devices. I've actually put a video on YouTube, Jason Verney, as I say, Jason K-Town Verney, regarding this stay. Last year I gave in my devices because I wanted to. It's not they don't ask you to do that. I just wanted to. I thought if it's a temple stay, I'm going to give up everything. This time I ended up being 7 days, 7 nights. I really didn't want to leave the temple. It was a different temple. It was overlooking the sea, but it was also in the mountains. It had everything. I wasn't as strict with myself with regards to devices. I, had my laptop, had my phones. I went out to a cafe, but it was a long walk, but it was worth it. But I had great temple food 2 or 3 times a day. And coming back to the seasons, I was still moving, what I would say, moving sort of south. It was along from Busan, but down more on the south coast, as opposed to the east coast, which is Busan. And so I was still moving down south. I thought, this is great. I'm going to go over to Jeju, and I will actually, although I'm staying as long as the winter, at the start of the winter at least, I'm going to cheat it because the weather's not going to be that bad. Now, when I arrived at the temple, by the way, I decided to actually, I'll check out of that accommodation and literally get an early morning train. There's one a day that goes to a place called Bosong. Anyone who knows south of South Korea well will know that. And I then got picked up by my friend. So my friend, she's the Sunim. Now the thing is, I decided to check out, and that's my time in Busan done. It was great. I met friends. I met James Turnbull yet again a few times. Met some other friends, loads of people that I'd not met before. There's a big expat scene. I mean, I'm not a big sort of hanging around with expats. That's not a big thing that I do. But if it's artistic and it's something to do with things you're interested in, then why not? And also there's Koreans at these. It's not just expats. So yeah, so I went over. I checked out of there. Left Busan on that early morning train. Oh yeah, I stayed 3 nights in Sumyeon area of Busan because I wanted to be near that station, because it was once. There are other ways to get to places in Korea. There might be a few trains a day, but they might go up the country for you only to go down again. I didn't want to get more than 1 train, so I got one, and it leaves at like 6 a.m, 10 past 6 in the morning, something like that. And so, right, I was heading, what I would say, more south in the overall shape of South Korea. But the day I arrived, it was freezing cold, it was raining. I thought, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to do this? And the accommodation, accommodation is in the temple, but it's not in the temple main grounds. You go up kind of a back woodland way to the hanok, the row of, I don't know, 5 or so rooms. They all had heating floor. This is Korea. All had Wi-Fi as well, but walk up there, I thought, oh, this is miserable. Am I going to be all right? Anyway, of the next morning and everything, it all fell into place, and the weather got lovely, actually. I mean, there was even a bit of snow. Pretty sure it was snow or very white frost, but it was high up, and I was loving it. I didn't want to leave, and I wasn't doing a standard temple stay program, so nothing was enforced on me, or nothing was. I don't think it's ever enforced. Nothing's ever forced onto you at temple stays, but your programs you can do the bows. I did 108 bows where you put some beads. Every bow you do, you put a bead onto your necklace. I did some ringing the bell, and as I say, I had the temple food every day. I helped set up the tea ceremony. We also had the Kimjang festival there was about to happen sort of a few days later. So they had a delivery of, I don't know, 300 cabbages and maybe the same amount of radishes. And myself and some other temple stayers, which just happened to be there at the right time. These are the younger bunch of people. They helped to get all these in. And we were passing these cabbages to one another. So, I did all that. And then it's funny because I'm looking right now at Hala Mountain, Halasan. And this morning I woke up and there was a beautiful rainbow. But I'll come to that in a second. It was just, I'm looking out now where the rainbow was, and I'm talking about the changes in the season. So what I was going to say was, I thought, right, I'm going to go to Jeju next. And I already thought about this before I left Busan, but it had been suggested to me there is a ferry that goes from Gangjin. Well, it actually goes from a couple of different places, I think, but Wondor Island. I got a ferry from Wondor Island over to Jeju. So this was about a week ago from now. And I was a bit nervous, partly because I'm not the best sea-wary person, but also because of Sewol was on my mind. Especially this was my first time taking a ferry in Korea. I don't take many in other countries, in Asia or in the UK. And, it was quite surreal. But anyway, I made it over to Jeju, and that's where I am. And I stayed for sort of 3 nights outside in Gangjong village area. And the reason I'm saying that is because that's where the Navy base activists that I've been acquainted with for like 11 years, that's where I've been staying. That's where that's who I've been visiting. I've actually been there I can't think, as many times I've been to Jeju, I've been to see them. But I haven't ever stayed in Gangjong village itself. This time, so I have stayed to NoSoKoPo and got one of the convenient buses to that area and done their sort of dancing and the activism in general, or the mass, or sat in mass, the Catholic thing, and or even had, and also had a meal with them. But I wanted to. I was there, so I got a cheapish hotel near there, pretty good actually. But some of these hotels, the ones I'm seeing in Jeju, are a bit old, and of course COVID's come and gone, and they're maybe not done up. They're warm, they're clean, but they might be slightly worn. But that's perhaps everywhere in the world at the moment. People and companies and hotels and tourism industry are feeling it. So I stayed there 3 nights, but now I've moved to Sewol, the harbour, the city, town, whatever you want to call it, of Jeju, and I like it here. As I say, I've got a view of Hala Mountain. But back to cheating the seasons, which is what this is all about. I thought I'd come to Jeju. I know it's not going to be like Seoul. It's not going to be freezing cold when it is up there. And I suddenly started feeling, the last few days, I've seen a couple of people's posts on social media about it snowing in Seoul. I think, I really like to be there actually. And apart from seeing that snow or whatever it was in the temple stay, I haven't been in falling snow. But I also saw on social media, ironically enough, today from someone on Jeju, they'd been up Hala Mountain. Now Hala Mountain, Halasan, which I can see from here, it's hard not to see it from, I'd say, from nearly so many places in Jeju. It's a huge mountain, and this is an island, so of course the amount of island it would take up is massive, so the space is, it's all relative. And people are posting about snow in the mountain, and people had said to me, even the hotel I'm staying at, well, yes, you probably won't get snow on the island itself, but you'll get snow if you'll see it on the mountain, or if you go up to the mountain. But then the most beautiful thing happened today, and it's 1st of December. I was looking out, we've got a huge window I can see this eco park. I can see not only Halla Mountain, Hallasan, I can also see other ones, other mountains and hills. I can see rooftops. I can see traffic far, and I can see a sports, what is it, a football pitch? I'm terrible with sports. And there's some other building over there. So, yeah, there was a rainbow, at the start of a rainbow. I thought, that's beautiful. In fact, I was trying to see the mountain if I could see snow, and certain parts looked white. Now, that's far away. There's going to be parts that are white. I mean, mountains, they're due to their height and the climate up there and all that. But as I saw this beautiful end of a rainbow. But not only that, I don't know if it was happening as I was seeing it, but it formed, maybe because of the height I'm at, it was a beautiful half circle. It turned out to be, from what looked, in fact, it was a double rainbow, so you had the rainbow, then you had another one on the outside, and I managed to capture it. But it was, I wish I'd been outside, because obviously I've got a window between, but it was beautiful to say to me, it was almost like Korea was saying, welcome to December in South Korea, in Korea in general even. And so I am having a bit of regret that I wasn't in Seoul to see the flurry or the brief snow. I'm going to be going to Seoul soon, because I've only got just over a week in Korea as I record this. And as I say, although I'm cheating the seasons by coming down here, which I am. Yesterday or 2 days ago, it felt like it could have been summer or autumn. But then another day, I think it was yesterday, it was -2, and it was freezing. So of course it depends on the time of day, I suppose, as well. But you've got the sea. I'm not going to the sea every day, or the harbour area. What I've got here, this view, I go out every day. That's me. I go to cafes, or I decide to leave my devices or laptop at home, hotel, and literally just go off for a walk in search of, and I'm doing a little episode about this, which I'll try to put out in some form. I'm trying to find bibimbap, which is not easy in Jeju. There's hardly anywhere that does it, or at least where I'm staying. And this is the most popular area of Jeju, I would say. And so it's, I'm not, there's certain foods I'm not eating. Today I had a hotel breakfast, but you pay for that. But I just felt like that's got everything I want. Dietary, it'll set me up for the day. So, back to the seasons. I am contemplating popping to Daegu to see my friend, and then to Seoul, because I'm going to have to get a flight to the mainland, whichever way I do this. But I might just go directly to Seoul. But then it's going to be cold, very cold. And I knew that, I kind of don't mind it now I'm here. I mean, I'm from England, so we know cold. But it's different when you're in a country that you've been coming to for a long time, and that you feel in different ways. You go to a cafe, and my gosh, I love Korean cafes. This time around, I'm really feeling them, especially independent ones. And they, it's actually too warm. When you walk in, maybe it's me adapting from coming in the cold, from the cold, but they're so warm, they're so comforting. Of course, now you've got Christmassy stuff coming up, and I'm not sure how I feel about Christmas in general. But anyway, off the topic. This is the thing. I've been trying to cheat the seasons. I've been ill for what felt like a week, at the tail end of my time in Busan, and I then had a week in a temple stay. I've now had a week on Jeju, and all this time getting stuff done that's priority, but nobody's given me deadlines. For example, these episodes, it's not easy to do this, but I don't want, talking about cheating the seasons, I don't want it to be that I'm cheating the podcast seasons. I'm trying to keep this going, and in fact, once I've got this one done and that other interview and a small one, they might all go out within December, and there's 3 episodes there. It's just something I'm trying to, it's not just a case of recording the episode, it's putting it up, it's doing the artwork, it's doing the description, it's advertising it or promoting it. It's probably the best word. I haven't even done much of the Ole Trail here in Jeju, partly because it is cold and you think, well, I know it's good, it's healthy to do a bit of walking. I love doing that, but you know, it's deceiving as well. You're in your hotel, it's lovely and warm. You're in a cafe, it's lovely and warm, but you go outside and you get the cold air. I mean, I've got, as I say, from where I'm sort of based right this second, I've got this beautiful eco park below me almost, which is, in fact, if you go to my YouTube channel, sorry to promote it, but the Jason Verney or Jason K-Town Verney, you'll see I posted 1 or 2 videos from Wondor, as I mentioned, the harbour town, the island itself even, before I came to Jeju, and I posted about Korean, these little nature places they put around, or certain things that you find in towns. They're modern park areas, even just modern walkways, and it seems to make it. I like it. I know it's not necessarily fully natural. There's a lot of man-made things that make these things happen, but there's something Korean about it. Now, I can't compare that to places like Japan because I haven't been there, but I'm sure there's some similarities. So just to round this episode off, as I say, I was talking about cheating the seasons, but I don't want to be seen as, maybe this is kind of cheating the seasons of the weather, but also the Not So Korean podcast episodes, because I'm trying to put it out and in some good order, without making false promises. And also I feel like maybe my health, you know, sometimes you think, great, I'm getting older, and I feel like maybe I'm cheating my health or cheating aging. You know, sometimes you forget how young you are not anymore. I mean, I feel great a lot of the time. I'm pretty healthy these days. I don't drink anymore. But when I was ill, I thought, what am I doing? Why is this happening? And, you know, and that's when this episode actually came to me before I went to the temple, and I thought, I've got to talk about cheating the seasons, cheating the episodes, cheating the, you know, all that, and cheating, you know, even with the cheap housing or the relatively low price accommodation I had, which was really good for what you got. You know, is it worth cheating these things sometimes when you could get so much better in some ways? And even, oh yeah, there's one more thing. I'm contemplating, I had to book my trip to Thailand, and also for the first time ever, I've been to Thailand many times, but I never actually prepared a visa before I went there, before I've actually arrived there. You can get a certain length one on arrival, and of course I used to go there for a couple of weeks, or put it, you know, combine it with my Korean trip for a couple of weeks on the end of that or something. But this time I thought, no, I'm going to apply for a longer one that you can do in advance. And I had to decide on dates, so I'm leaving Korea. And there's something happening in Bangkok that I wasn't that bothered about going back to. And the reason I was explaining this is because I think this tells you how much Korea means to me. And let me explain. So there's something happening in Bangkok on the 8th of December. Now I'm watching my budget. I'm pretty much living a nomadic artistic lifestyle now, let's say. I've got a place to stay in Bangkok already, a friend of mine, which I'm paying for, which is available from now, really, from the 1st of December even. From a few days from now, or the 1st of December, or even the end of November. Got a family member who's coming to Thailand, so I'm seeing them as well. There's a lot happening in December and January, I suppose. And I was debating whether I want to be back for this event that's happening. I mean, I already had to debate. I already had to think, oh, do I want to go back to this event that's happening on the 18th of November? And obviously I decided against that, and I'm staying in Korea longer because, again, I love Korea and there's certain things I want to tick off my list. I want to say I've been in Korea for almost 3 months, or like I did last year. And I want to say I've been longer than last time. So I've been here at the end of November, beginning of December. But I chose to go back on it's another significant date in the family, which is the 9th of December, instead of the 7th, in time for that event on the 8th. And it was just to save, I don't know, maybe £50, maybe 90,000 won. I'm not sure how much now. But, and I was, as the event was getting closer, and as people are talking about it now, it's a meet-up of friends, really. And I was thinking, I'm kind of regretting it. It's a bit like the snow in Sewol. I'm thinking, am I regretting that? I do that a lot with things. Anyway, and then, I'm also going to be paying for two extra nights of accommodation in Sewol if I stay till the 9th instead of going on the 7th. And then it occurred to me this week, well, this just shows you, Jason, because I do talk to myself, this just shows how much you like being here. There's nothing to be ashamed of or regret. It's just, I don't know, I mean, I felt like I'm cheating, I'm cheating not the seasons regarding travel, but the airfare. I'm kind of getting the good deal of the airfare, because that was the thing. If there was a flight for the exact same price on the 7th, I probably would have gone back. But the other thing is, if I stayed in Korea until the 7th of December, so the full day of the 6th, and you leave on the 7th, to me that feels like you haven't even done it. You've hardly done any days in December in Korea. How can you even think? Because I like these challenges of being in Korea at certain times and saying I've been here certain months. It's just something that goes into my accomplishments, my research, my writings, even this podcast. Whether you want to hear it or not, it's things I talk about. And it's things I'm proud of being in Korea. But then I thought, well, if I stay to the 9th, 10th or 11th, it turns out it's going to be the 9th. That feels like I've stayed almost the middle of December. So it's kind of it's cheating. It's cheating the dates. It's cheating whatever you want to say. I wanted this episode to be about cheating and kind of, So me going back on the 9th feels like almost mid. It's more than a week. It's almost mid. And I felt like, yeah, sure, there must be something in Korea that's drawing me to make me want to not only, sure, I'm getting a cheaper flight back by going on the 9th, back over to Thailand. It's cheaper than it would have been on the 7th. But I'm going to make that saving is going to be used up in a hotel for a couple of nights in Sewol. So it swings around about. So it doesn't really save me anything. But then that, again, it's the Korean challenge that I put in front of myself. These friends in Bangkok, I will meet again, and I'll still be there in time for this family member that I'm going to be seeing. So that's it. I've rambled on way too long. I probably missed out things I was going to say. It just felt the right time, right day to record this. A rainbow this morning, huge rainbow on the 1st of December, my first time in Korea in December, and with the Halla mountain with some snow, which appeared to be there earlier, might still be there now, but the mountain's still there. And I might be meeting a couple of friends I met on the ferry, actually. They're actually from Israel, and I might be meeting them today because they are staying in NoSoKoPo, which is where I am. But if not, I'm going to be having a nice, constructive, bit of naturey, airy kind of day, and maybe, let's just say maybe, it's probably not going to happen because it's Jeju, I've already been told this, maybe a bit of snow. But if I don't have it here, let's just see, those few days in Sewol, in a few days' time, maybe I'll have snow in Sewol. If not, maybe next time. Maybe I'll be here till January, another time. We will see. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for staying to the end, if that's what you did. Baengnyeon-sa, 계세요. Well, we hope you enjoyed that episode. So that's all from us. 안녕히 계세요.